A jungle is shown at the start of the film. Here, a sloth is shown on a tree by the river is shown, on which a crocodile attacked. After a few seconds, we were seeing blood in the water. Maybe the crocodile ate the sloth, but surprisingly, after a while, we see the sloth coming out of the water. He somehow escaped the crocodile's attack, but here he could not escape a hunter's attack, who made him unconscious with a gun to make him unconscious, and puts him in his bag and takes him with him. On the other hand, we see that the crocodile that attacked the sloth, that crocodile is injured and dead. That means this sloth was not an innocent animal, but it was a bloodthirsty animal. Anyway, after the scene cuts, we see two girls who are college students, and among them, Emily is the main character of our movie. Emily's friend Madison was with Emily. Emily was a social media addict. She was uploading pictures on her social media again and again, and Madison didn't like this at all. So Madison gets angry and leaves from here. After leaving, Emily sees a dog here, whom she catches and starts taking selfies with him. The owner of the dog praises Emily that you are soft-hearted, you love animals. They both take pictures with this dog, and Emily uploads this picture on social media. They both have some talks about social media here, and Emily also sees a picture of a sloth in this man's account. She was very impressed by this. This man tells her that such an animal can be made his pet, and because of this, followers on social media also increase very quickly. If you want to take it, then contact me. Saying this, he gives her his card and leaves from here. After the scene, we see Emily and Madison's college. Here we meet a girl named Sydney, who has won 3 elections in their college hostel. And this time, too, she is going to stand for the election of the House president. Everyone liked her, too, because she was very beautiful and very stylish. But they were also afraid of her because she was very proud and also very rich. And she belonged to a powerful family. As soon as Emily comes to her room, she finds out that someone is behind her. Whatever it was, Emily had already beaten him, and then she finds out that this was her own friend, who had only come here to surprise her. Anyway, now we meet the warden of Emily's hostel, who tells Emily that when her mom was studying in this college, she was the house president here. She informs Emily that you can also stand for the election. Emily knew that she could not win from Sydney, but in some time, she also wanted to become the house president. That's why she decides to take part in the election. Now there was only one way to win the election, that she becomes as popular as Sydney. And speaking of popularity, she remembers that if she wants to increase the followers of her social media, then she can take a sloth. This idea was very unique. That's why Emily contacted that man and decided to buy a sloth from him. That man told Emily a location, to which she came the next day and took the sloth. The scene cuts, and now we see the man, who is about to take the same sloth out of the cage and take it out for a walk. So this sloth attacks the man with its claws and kills him. The next morning, Emily reached that man's house. That man was not receiving a call from her. The house was also very scattered. She did not see that man anywhere here, but her eyes fell on the sloth, which looked very scary. That's why Emily, without telling anyone, picked him up and left from here. When she came back to her hostel with him, she saw that Sydney was meeting some girls here. After that, she did not like at all that someone is standing for the election in her opponent. Seeing Emily, Sydney's anger increases even more. She follows her and in anger picks up the box in her hand and throws it down the stairs. There was a sloth in this box and she did not know this. As soon as the sloth comes out of the box, all the girls found it very cute. Emily quickly picks up her sloth in her lap. Sydney tells her that according to the rules, she cannot keep any pets in this hostel. In response, Emily tells her a new rule, that if more people vote for her, then she will be able to keep this pet here. Many girls vote to keep the sloth here. Hearing this, Emily is very happy, and she also announces that she is also going to participate in the election of the House president time. Hearing this, Sydney was very angry, but Sydney could not do anything right now. Because of this sloth, Emily's popularity was increasing. But Madison, who is Emily's friend, didn't like this animal. She advises Emily to leave this animal wherever it is, i.e., in the jungle. He will not be able to adjust here. But Emily does not listen to her either. Because of this sloth, her social media followers were also increasing very quickly. In this way, Emily could win the election very easily. Here, Emily's other friend gives her some tablets for the sloth. Because of this, when the sloth goes to the people, he does not take much anxiety. Sydney told her friend to take Emily's sloth far away from here. Because of this, Emily's popularity will decrease, and her chances of winning the election will increase. The scene cuts, and we look at Emily, who gives the medicine to the sloth at this time. After feeding him, she could take him to the people, after which she herself goes to get ready. Behind her, we see that this sloth is running her computer. Just like she is a human being, he was understanding everything. Opening Emily's profile, he had also seen the picture of the man who had brought him here from the jungle. Seeing this, he goes crazy with anger. He also spits the tablet in his mouth. Emily also gets ready and comes out. The sloth acts normal in front of her, and Emily picks him up and brings him to the party. In the party, everyone was liking Sloth a lot. Now the girl with whom Sydney had given the task of taking the sloth away from here, she asks for the sloth from Emily that I find it very cute. Will you give him to me in my lap for a while? Emily listens to her and gives Sloth to her lap. And on Sydney's signal, the girl takes the sloth away from here to the jungle. Sydney's work was done. The girl's hostel had returned, but she didn't know that Sloth didn't go back to the jungle. He was also heading towards their hostel building. When he was crossing the road, he was saved by a car, but then he finally came to the hostel building. While climbing the building, he also reached the girl's window, which the girl had left him near the jungle. The sloth put all his anxiety tablets in the girl's glass. Because as we know, the sloth is not an ordinary sloth. He is very cunning. He takes revenge on those who do evil to him. That's why he was going to take revenge on this girl too. As soon as this girl drinks the tablet, she falls down. Now she could see the sloth too. She thought she was getting illusions, but Sloth was actually there. Sometimes here and sometimes there, attaches himself like a ghost. First, he scares the girl a lot. Then he jumps on her, stabs her with his big nails, and kills her. Here we see that the party was over. Everyone was going back because it was going to rain, while Emily was looking for her sloth here. That's when Sydney comes to her and says to her, "Oh, you are looking for Sloth." She left him in the jungle. Knowing this, Emily is very sad. She came out to find him, but she couldn't do much in the heavy rain and darkness. Desperate, she comes back to her room. She was crying for the sloth. Suddenly, she saw the sloth alive in her room. Seeing him, Emily is at peace. She quickly picks him up and hugs him, not knowing that this sloth has just murdered a girl. In the dark, Emily couldn't even see that the sloth's hands were badly stained with blood. What happened was that a member of their group had disappeared, and they didn't pay attention to this. The days passed. Sloth was living here with everyone. One day, when everyone was playing basketball, a girl accidentally dropped the basketball on the sloth. Sloth catches her like a human and tears it with his nails in anger. He was now angry with this girl too. That's why at night he also goes and murders this girl. Anyone who does anything wrong with the sloth or anyone whom the sloth dislikes, the sloth goes and murders them. Sloth attacks anyone with his nails or by the current. Interestingly, all these murders were not revealed to anyone because the sloth hides the bodies of people after killing them, and no one even looks for them because the sloth himself posts on their Instagram account that we are going somewhere. That's when Emily's friend, Madison, notices that Emily's followers are increasing day by day, but she still feels like something is wrong. That's why she wants to talk to Emily's other friend. That friend was also sitting next to Emily. The sloth was also there. Sloth opens a bottle of beer in front of these three, and after drinking the beer, he acts like human. Emily and the other girl do not bother this at all. While Madison has noticed that this is very abnormal behavior, that too of an animal. Now, Emily stands up from the pool and goes inside to get some things. And taking advantage of the situation, Madison was about to run away with the sloth. She wanted either to leave the sloth in the jungle or in the shelter. He didn't stay with her friend Emily. But on time, Emily comes here and catches her. Without knowing that her friend wants the best for her, she fights a lot with her friends here. During their fight, the sloth puts Emily's phone out of her pocket and throws it on the road. As soon as Madison comes to pick up her phone, a car passes over her. She had a very bad accident, and the sloth did it on purpose. He was watching from a distance while the car was coming. He knew that when Madison would pick up the phone, the car would pass over her. Madison was badly injured and was now admitted to the hospital. The good thing was that she didn't die. Seeing her friend in this condition, Emily was also very sad. She promises Madison that she will fix everything. As soon as the election is over, she will leave the sloth in the shelter. The election was about to happen tonight, but we see that before the election, Sloth kills 2 more girls. After killing 2 girls, He finds the location of the hospital from the cell phone of a girl, where Madison was admitted because he wanted to kill her. Outside, he steals Emily's car and leaves for the hospital. He was driving the car better than any human. Here, they don't get the news of their car and other people's disappearance, because all the elections were busy. All the girls were wearing red gowns, and Emily was eagerly waiting for the results. Votes were being counted. Sydney was just about to win, but suddenly Emily wins because her 2-4 votes or more. She was so happy. On the other hand, Sydney was jealous of her. After the scene is cut, we are shown the scene of the hospital, where the sloth takes off her oxygen mask to kill Madison and then puts a pillow on her mouth and tries to kill her. Before Madison dies, Sister enters the room from which the sloth had gone down to hide. Sister picks up a pillow from Madison's mouth and puts her oxygen mask back on her. In this way, Madison's life is saved once again. On the other hand, Sydney was very angry in the hostel to share her grief of her defeat. As soon as she goes to her friend's room, she finds her friend's dead body in the washroom. Seeing this dead body, she screamed loudly, but no one could hear her voice. Emily and her friends, while celebrating their victory, were talking about the lost people, that I don't know where they are leaving the hostel. While talking, Emily thought of bringing some things from her room. As soon as she went upstairs, she heard the scream of Sydney. When she followed the voice and reached the room, she sees that the sloth was sitting on Sydney's head. Without wasting time, Emily hit something on Slot's head and made him unconscious. Now she was convinced that Madison was telling the truth, that this animal is very dangerous. Now, to save her life from the sloth, these two girls hide in the washroom where the other girl's dead body is seen. Seeing this dead body, when Sydney again screams in fear, Emily slaps and makes her quiet and says, "This is not the time to be panicked, but to save yourself." When they realized that Slot had left the room, they came out of the room by taking the commode's lid. But the sloth was sitting on the chair waiting for them. Seeing this, Sydney goes back to the washroom and closes the door. Poor Emily gets stuck here. Now, as soon as the sloth jumps to attack her, she uses the lid of the commode in her hand, like a bag, and hits the sloth hard. The sloth falls out of the commode. Emily thinks that he is dead, but she sees that the sloth is standing up. She quickly goes back and warns the other girls about the danger of the sloth. But all the girls were busy at the party, and before reaching the bottom, the sloth shows his work here and leaves an electric wire in the water of the washroom and kills everyone with the electric current. Only Emily's third friend was able to escape from here. The sloth goes to the warden of the hostel after killing them. The warden was also drunk at this time. He sees the sloth first and defends himself for a while. She succeeds, but then the sloth overpowers her and stabs her in the stomach with his big nails and kills her. The same way, we see Emily's friend who was running Instagram. He sees pictures of the girls of the hostel, one after the other, behind whom the sloth was. All the girls' eyes were closed. This means that something was definitely wrong, and to see this mess, he quickly comes to the hostel. He came to the hostel and saw that there was a big mess there. He now wanted to save Emily, so they decided to kill the sloth together. Emily's third friend who was saved had a sword in her hand with which she wanted to kill Sloth. Now the three of them become a team and move forward to kill the sloth. As soon as the girl starts killing the sloth with the help of the sword, the sloth is able to escape from the sword easily, the same way he knows martial arts. Now he was able to take the sword while defeating the girl. Before he could kill the girl with the sword, the injured Madison, who was admitted at the hospital, comes here with a gun. From behind, Madison shot him, and this sloth fell. All of them thought the sloth was dead. Along with Madison, Emily's friend was also injured, and it was necessary to take them to the hospital. The boy takes them to the hospital, while Emily turns to Slot to confirm whether he is dead or not. She couldn't believe it. She wanted to stab him with a big rod and kill him. Before she stabs him, the sloth runs away. Emily's other companions had gone to the hospital, and Emily was alone in the hostel. She knew that all of this had happened because of her, and now she had to fix it. At the same time, Emily was calling the sloth. Meanwhile, Sydney comes down the stairs. Sloth was sitting on her, and he had his big nails on her neck, as if he will kill her. Sloth asks Emily to throw her sword by pointing at her. As soon as Emily throws the sword, Sloth jumps on her. Before the sloth could kill her, Emily shoots him with the gun hidden with her. This time, his attack worked, and the sloth was about to die. Before he dies, the sloth points to a painting of a jungle. This means that he wanted to go back to his jungle, but it was too late. He died. After his death, this hostel is called Slotherhouse. After some time, we are shown that there is hustle and bustle in this hostel again live before. No one is afraid to live here. Maybe no one knows how many people have been killed here. In the last scene, we are shown a jungle where a group has gone for a tour. Here, a girl takes a picture with the sloth. The story ends here with this.